For my favorite boot campers, I am doing a tutorial about HTML, basic HTML and CSS. Look, it's not that hard, okay? So here's the deal. First thing, before you do anything, make a folder. Make a folder. You can call it root, you can call it the name of your project, but make a folder that you're going to save all this stuff in. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have shit you get lost. It's going to be scattered all over the place. You're going to lose your mind. So don't. Next, open up. I'm using Text Wrangler, which is a plain text editor. You do not need any special software to create HTML. Lovely thought. Right next to it, I've got Google Chrome open because I'm going to be testing this stuff back and forth to make sure it works. So I better damn well make sure that I've got things lined up. So let's get on with it. Anything that the browser reads, the real HTML, is inside an angle bracket. And right there, that's an angle bracket. That's an opening angle bracket. Closing angle brackets the other direction. We'll get there. So first thing you need to do is explain to the browser what kind of document it's using. And in this case, we write it exclamation point, doc type, put it all in caps, and then HTML, which is not in caps. Close the angle bracket. Boing, done. Next, we need to open an HTML tag, HTML. And we want to tell them what language we're going to use. So it's lang equals, and in our case, inside quotes, it's en, which stands for English. Close the angle bracket. Next, HTML is divided into sections. There's the head, there's the body. In the head is most of the stuff you can't see. It's meta tags, things like that. Think of it as your own head. No one can see what you're thinking. So you could be thinking, I'm an ass right now. Cool. No one can see it. On the body, though, if I put clothes on or I do, my body language lets you know that I think you're an asshole, you'll see it. So, another important thing to remember is when you open a tag, you close a tag. Now, we've got an HTML tag open. Let's close it right now. Open angle bracket, \HTML, right? Close angle bracket. Now everything we do is going to be in between here. So I'll give it some space, and I'm going to move up a little bit. So, like I said, it's broken up into sections. So we have a head, G-A-D, head. And we opened it, so we'll give some space and we'll close it. / head. Note the words don't change. We just add a \. That's it. Nothing else. That's it. So what goes inside the head? Well, we kind of need to tell what kind of character set we're using. So that's a meta. And it's character set with CHAR. We don't write all that stuff out. It's, computer people are lazy. Set equals. And in quotes, this is a string. Strings are just regular words, So UTF equals, or rather hyphen, sorry, not equals, or not equals, a -8. That means it includes everything, then the slash, and then close it. All right, so that'll include all our curly quotes, all kinds of stuff, which makes life much more pleasant. Next tag. Now we're going to add more to this after we get done with the basics, but let's just roll with this. So we got title, open title, / title, close title. All right. What goes in here? Well, that would be the title of your page, and it is one of the very most important things you do. It is the thing that shows up in the tabs in your browser. It is also the first thing that the little Google bots and search engines look for. So I'm going to give mine, of course, the fabulous title of My Cool Website. Awesome. There you go. That's all in the head. Now the only other thing I have to do, let's add a body, angle bracket, body, and we'll skip some spaces, and then we'll angle bracket / body to close it. All right, now if I save this right now, which I'm going to, the very first thing I want to do is I need to save this with the proper name. Now remember, if you're going to be starting a website in this route, the very first page you create is an index. I-N-D-X, D-E-X. That's the very first page. So when you load it up and the browser goes to it, goes to your website, nancy.dodge.com/, it opens up the index. It looks for the index. So that's the very first one. So I'm going to save that index. Now if I just drag this over, grabbing the little icon and drag it over, and let's try that again. Oops. And there's nothing there except up here in the tab, My Cool Website, which corresponds over here to the title. Awesome. Now, let's add something in the body, something to get started with. Let's start with an H tag. H1. Open angle bracket, H1, close angle bracket, open angle bracket /H1. Now, that's a headline. H1's huge. It's supposed to be. It goes 1 through 7. It doesn't get any greater than 7. And 7's really tiny. 1's real big, 7's really tiny. So let's just put that, this is my website. And I'll put an explanation after it. Oop, look, I put a capital there. I don't want that. There we go. Save it, come over here and reload. Boom. Shows up. Why does it show up? Because it's in the body tag. That's why it shows up. Works like a charm. Now, let's look at some of the other things we can do. Like I said, we can have, we have an H1 by size comparison. I remember Nick did the H3. This is smaller, H3, and if I save it and I reload it, boom, smaller. And we can even do a paragraph tag, open angle bracket P, close angle bracket. Now a lot of people don't close their paragraph tags, but I think you should. Open angle bracket /P, close. I think that's absolutely essential. Now remember that one of the things we talked about was you can always go get some filler text, like ipsum lorem, and the best place to go do that would be Chrome. I didn't have to jump anywhere. Open up a new page, and let's just type in lorem, and that's usually all I have to do. There we go, lorem ipsum. Ooh, bacon, funny. I'm about funny, so we'll go with that. Funny, and let's just pick one. Ooh, Samuel L. Ipsum. I love it. This is awesome. And so, you know, have a little fun with this. I'm going to get one paragraph. Would you like some, add some P tags? No. Generate it. There we go. There we go. We generated it. Here it is. I'm going to copy it. Command C, and I'll just paste it within this tag. And it didn't, you know, we didn't have a soft wrap set up. If you remember the soft wrap, if you come up here, click soft wrap, there you go. Save it. I'll come over here, reload. Lovely. I'm so excited, I just can't stand myself. Anyway, so we got that kind of stuff going on. Now, what if we wanted to have a break? You know, we've got a paragraph and I want to put a break line in between things, like if I wanted to add an image or something. The tag you want is B, open angle bracket, BR, close. And you won't see anything until we put something else there. So we will do that. Let's add an image. We can do that. So let's jump over to back to here. Let's go to Samuel L. Jackson. And I wonder if, let's see, let's just go with a car. And let's just pick images. Oh, look at those cars. Meow. I like that one. I want that one. It's huge though. I want something small. I need something small, 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 small. Well, I'll use this one because that'll work. So I'm going to download that one. And I'm going to download it right into my my folder. So I'm going to save image as, and I'm just going to call it car, because this name is way too long before we get to wherever we're trying to go. And car will work. Save. Now mine went down to my downloads, and there it is. And I'm just going to save it again. This is just me. I'm going to move it to from downloads to root. There we go. Move. So there we go. So there's one in there. So now let's put in an image. This has been fun, right? So let's put in an image. Well, we need a tag. Open angle bracket. IMG. Image. That's exactly what IMG stands for. Nothing else. SRC. That's the location. Equals, with not a plus sign, equals. Open double quotes, close double quotes. Space, alt. And everything should have an alt tag, an image that has a reason. So equal, and I'm just going to put silver car, because that's what it is. Close that. And let's just start putting this in. So this was car dot, I think, JPG. Close the close the angle. Save. Oh, that's not going to work. I spelled it wrong. Look at that. Look at these things. Let's fix it. Save. And let's reload. There's our car. Ooh, that's a nice looking car. And you can see where I added the space. If I add a couple of these BRs, let's add a bunch of them so you can see what it's doing. Now watch this. See where it is now? Notice how it went down? I just created white space that way. If I wanted to, I can put dimensions in here. So let's just put width. Now remember, if you put width and height, it can squish it up. So if we just put width equals, and let's say we only wanted 200 pixels. And save and reload. Notice how much smaller it got, but it stayed proportional. If I had put height in here that wasn't proportional, let's say 500 pixels, you're going to see how weird this looks. And reload. You got one funky looking thing here. So fortunately, you don't have to do that. If you just put one or the other dimensions in, it will work. It will work correctly. There you go. Nice looking car though, isn't it? So that's how you put an image in. Now we've got, this is my website. This is smaller. Here's some text. Here's a pretty image. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's make a link. And let's make a second page. Now, I know Nick said you could copy the skeleton, and basically you can just duplicate your page and delete stuff. That's what I would do because I'm lazy. So I would do a save as, and I'd call this page 2, and save it in the root. And page 2 looks exactly like page 1, so let's make it this. This is my website. This is page 2. And let's take the image off. We don't need the image. Save. And notice this is not page 2. So let's grab this and drop it in. See, this is page 2. We're lucky that way. We can see what we're doing. There we go. We have show files, and we want to open. We want to go back and open our index. My index wasn't open, so I'm going back to my index page, which has the car in it, right? Let's make a link to the second page, and how do we do that? We go angle bracket, because they all start that way. A stands for anchor. Href, that tells us where it is. And because this is relative, in other words, it means it's in the same folder. We're going to open some double quotes, close some double quotes, and in there we're going to put page2.html. Page2.html. Okay? Close the angle brackets. But we need something to click on. So this takes you to page 2. Okay? Great typing I did there, but we'll fix that in a minute. And I'll open an angle bracket, \A, close, and then a period after it because I don't want that to do that. This takes you to page 2, and let's make this a capital. It is a statement. Let's save it. I'm going to drag, whoops. I'm going to grab my little button here, drag it and drop it. Here you go. This takes you to page 2. If I click it, page 2. Now we got to get back. Well, since I'm lazy, I'll just copy this, Command C. I'll go to page 2. I will paste it. And instead of page 2, I want to go to the index. And this takes you to the index. And save it. And I want you to notice when we look at this one, we're going to save it. And we're going to reload it. See the period? Since the period is outside of the angle bracket here, it is not part of the link. So if I tried to click on just that, note nothing happens. But when I click here on the link, which is underlined, boom, Bob's your uncle. Pretty cool, huh? So we've gone that far, and that's pretty much basic tags. Let's get into a little CSS. Now the way to do CSS, in at least this is the way I like to do it. I prefer to create my CSS on a single page and attach it to my HTML pages, because when you got all that stuff going on in there, you can't tell what shit's what. I mean, you really can't. It's just really a pain in the ass. So it's much easier to create a CSS page. So let's do that. So let's come over here to Text Wrangler and go File, New, and in here I'm going to create my really cool looking CSS. The first tag I'm going to hit up is going to be the body tag. So when I want to talk to a specific part of the HTML document, I just identify it. So this one I want to call body. Open curly brace, skip a few lines, close curly brace. If you don't know where the curly brace is, they're right next to the P, so you can see them. So what do I want to do here? Well, there's lots of CSS tags and things you can talk to. We're only going to talk about a few. Okay? So just kind of roll with it, all right? So let's do background, color. Okay, back color. That's not right. Background hyphen color. There's a couple different ways to write this, by the way. You can just write background if you want, which I think would probably be the easier way. You don't have to remember as much. Colon. Let's pick a nice color. Oh, I don't know. How about green? You know, there's certain words that are just understood by your browser. And that makes it a lot easier. Now that's going to cover the background color, all right? Now if you just use the word color, colon, and let's say red, the color refers to the color of the text. That's it. So we got one. Let's save this. Let's save. And I'm going to call it style, S-T-Y-L-E, and I'll make it .css, and I'm going to save it right into my root folder. And when I reload this, nothing happens. The reason nothing happens is because we haven't added it into the pages. So let's go to the index page first. And this is done in the head. When you attach a CSS sheet, it's done in the head, someplace you can't see. And it's real easy. Open angle bracket. And then we're going to go link. So we're linking this. Rel, it's relationship. equals, and this is in double quotes, open double quotes, close double quotes, in between there type style sheet. It just tells, oh, well, that's not style sheet. See what happens when you put your fingers in the wrong place on your keyboard? Style sheet. And you have to tell it where it is. And like a link, it's href, H-R-E-F equals. Because this is local, open double quotes, close double quotes, you can just type in style sheet, or didn't we just called it style.css. Okay. Then all we have to do at this point is close the angle bracket. Save it. Now we are in the, if we reload, as you can see, it worked. God, that's ugly. As simple as all that. I don't like it. So I need to go to my CSS and make a change. So I'll go back here to my CSS style sheet. I think I'll change that background to a hex number. And some of the hex things, in other words, there's ways to talk to the browser using a pound. And let's go CCC. That's a gray. But you can look up other numbers. So I saved it. Let's reload this. Oh, that's much better, right? So we can see it now. Notice that this didn't change down here. That's because we didn't tell the anchor links to change. We just told the regular text to change. I know, right? So that's sort of a general thing. We can add more. Things like we could change the font family, and we could do it for the whole thing, or we can do it for a specific tag. So let's do it for the H1 tag. H1. Whoops, that's not. I wrote it wrong. It'd be H1. Open curly brace. Close curly brace. Let's put this in there. So what do we want it to do? We want it to be a different font. So we go font hyphen family. Font family, right? Colon. Okay, so here's the thing. The first one you put inside quotes. Everything after that is just a list, a comma list. So let's put in, I'm pretty sure I've got Helvetica. Notice the silence. I'm trying to figure out how to spell it. Helvetica, the new one, the skinnier one. Newy? I don't know, new, whatever. Then we got a comma. Then just type Helvetica. H-E-L-V-E-T-I-C, Helvetica. Wow, that is not right. H-E-L-V-E-T-I-C-A, Helvetica. And then we'll put a sans serif, and as Nick likes to say, sans serif. But a sans serif is the one without the feet. And semicolon. And we are ready to rock. Let's save this. And reload this. Did you see it change? Look how different that is. That's the new font. So let's do font size while we're at it. FONT.size -size colon. Let's make it 50 pixels because we want to rock this place. Semicolon. Save it. Reload. Big badass headline. Okay. Then again, we can do, there's all kinds of things you can do, but let's get to something called a class. Classes are sort of like adding a second name. So like when your mother's yelling at you and say your name is John Smith and you live in a neighborhood with 5 John Smiths and your mother's totally pissed at you, what does she do? John Wilford Smith. That middle name comes right out. It's either that or you're a serial killer. You can pick whichever one you prefer. So let's add to our HTML a class tag. So let's go up here. And I'm going to add it right next to the P tag. Give it a space. I'm going to type class equals class equals, and it is, we can use the one Nick did, in quotes, warning. There you go, warning. Now that class will pertain to this whole tag. So let's jump back to our we'll save it. Notice when we reload, nothing changed. Let's go back to our CSS and let's do, since it is a class, we go dot warning and warning n, open curly brace, couple spaces, close curly brace. What do we want to do? What can we do? Let's make let's do something. Let's just make the text a different color so that we can see what's going. So let's go color, colon, let's do green, semicolon, save it, reload, boom, it works. All right, so that's basic CSS. Now the thing is, we need to add this to our other page. Okay, so let's go back to our index page. We can copy and paste this right here, jump to our page 2, paste it in the head, save it, and let's drop page 2 in there. Whoops, come on baby. And we'll drop it in. See? Now notice that this isn't a different color. The reason it isn't a different color is because we didn't add the class here. What if I added it here? So let's go in the H3 tag, space, class equals, open double quotes, close double quotes, and let's put warning right here. Save it. So what do we think is going to happen? That's right, this changed colors. But that's pretty basic stuff, so you should be able to deal with that as far as understanding how this works. If you have any questions, let me know.